If your business has a recurring revenue stream, or if you bill for your product or service via installments, then you need to be using this feature. Pipedrive's recurring revenue and pay installment options will give you more confidence that you aren't missing payments and customers are getting charged on time. If right now you're just putting in a single deal value, then you are flying blind, and this is where mistakes happen and revenue is lost. Let's fix that. In this video, I'll walk you step by step through how to set up recurring revenue and pay installments in Pipedrive. I'm going to explain a couple of limitations and show you how we do things slightly differently at MinorCo. And if you'd like to take this process a step further, we can help you by connecting Pipedrive to an invoicing tool, accounting platform, or even a payment processor. To learn more, book an introductory call with our team using the link in the description below. But for now, let's get into it. Now, the whole purpose of this feature is to give you more visibility of when you're collecting payments. So you can see a report like this with, for example, in March, the value of one-time product sales. So that would just be a sale for a product or service that you've charged and paid for and been paid upfront entirely. You can also see, the value of installments that you're receiving. So let's say you bill for a project with 50% upfront and 50% in 30 days. You can see those installments and when the cash is coming in. And finally, you can see the value of recurring product revenue. For example, if you sell a retainer, or perhaps you sell a subscription service of some kind where you bill the customer the same amount every month. So this whole feature is really to help you understand, okay, so we've charged a big deal value, but when are we actually due to be paid? Now, you do need to be on at least this growth plan here in order to use the product subscriptions and installments feature. If you are new to Pipedrive, click the link in the description to request a quote on your licenses from MinorCo. We'll help you get the best price on these seats. Okay, let's first take a look at recurring revenue. If you want to skip ahead to pay installments, you can use the chapters in this video. So here's an example deal. To Monsters Inc., I'm selling a marketing retainer where we're going to bill the prospect the same amount every single month. Now, how a lot of our clients often use Pipedrive is they put in the total singular deal value here, which may represent the value of the retainer over a 12-month period. The problem with that is we don't have a lot of visibility over when the cash is coming in or if we've been paid, and quite frankly, there's just a better way to do it. So to add recurring revenue, I'm going to click the Plus Products button, and this is where we can add products or services that make up our total deal value. So I could pull in here one of my products like marketing retainer, and you can even create variations or different packages with different price points. So I've got a gold package here, which is $2,000. Now, a good way to think about products in Pipedrive is that these products correspond to the line items on an invoice. So if you are going to take this a step further and generate invoices or create a payment link off the back of this, think about each product as the line item on an invoice. So I've got up my marketing retainer, $2,000. Now, in this billing frequency dropdown, if I just leave this as one-time revenue, this just means I'm billing the entire value of this project up front. So in my report, that's what you see here as a one-time product. If I were to switch this to maybe monthly billing, I can say, right, we are billing monthly until cancelled. Now, if you leave it open-ended like this, when you come down to your revenue summary, you are going to see some values for monthly recurring revenue and annual recurring revenue. But because this is an ongoing, infinite engagement, it's using 12 months as the basis of this ARR calculation. Now, the other option is you can specify a fixed number of billing cycles. So this is great if, for example, they've agreed to a 6-month retainer. Now, just be aware, you cannot go higher than 208 billing cycles. If you need to go more than that, you would then need to create another deal once you exceed the 208. But let's just say this is going to be a 6-month engagement. And the final thing to do is to specify the billing start date. So this means different things to different people. I like to view this as this is when we're getting paid that first amount. So maybe they're agreeing to pay, let's just say, by this Friday. I'm going to choose that as my billing start date. My monthly cycles will be monthly from that billing start date. So this is something you may want to update later or just modify over time depending on when they actually pay. Now, once you have saved the product, you will see a bit of a summary here of the annual contract value, annual recurring revenue, and monthly recurring revenue numbers. And in this products section in the sidebar, you'll see a bit of a summary. So this is a marketing retainer, $2,000 a month for 6 cycles. Just so you don't have to click into that every time, you get the product summary here. By the way, if you're not seeing that section, just go to Manage Sidebar Sections. Make sure you have products here turned on. Now, important caveat. As soon as you add a product to the deal with recurring revenue, even though my deal is still open, we haven't won it yet, this is not a done deal, this will actually update my reports. So this product revenue report is easy to create. Just come to the Create button, Report, Revenue Forecast, Product Revenue, and you'll get a report like this. Now, this shows any deal where the product billing date is this year. So product billing date is referring to this field here. That's the product billing date. So as long as it's this year, it's going to show up on this report. This report is currently showing deals that are won or open. So we're actually using this as both what revenue have we recognized, but also what revenue are we expecting. And finally, this is showing deals where the revenue is any of the one-time products that I showed, recurring revenue or installments. Now, as it is, if I refresh this report, you'll see these numbers will update. Because we have that Monsters Inc. deal closing in June, you can see for the June period, there's that marketing retainer, $2,000 Monsters Inc. That is now showing our recurring revenue increasing in June. Now, I could segment this report if I remove open deals. This would now just show the deals that we've won. But by default, when you create that report, it's going to include deals that are open. So just be aware of that. So, the recurring revenue feature is great for business models like retainers, especially if you bill the same amount every single month, or maybe subscription services. You're selling software or some service, they pay a monthly fee or a quarterly fee, and it's the same every single time. Where you can start to run into a few issues with this is if that monthly or quarterly amount fluctuates, if it changes often. For example, let's say you're halfway through this 6-month retainer with the client and they say, we want to increase, we want to go to the next plan. Great. The best way to handle that would be to then reduce this down to 3. So we've recorded that they've done 3 months from this date at this amount. Add another product. So we'd add our retainer product again, now they're going up to platinum, so we've got the new price in here. We'll set our billing frequency to monthly, and they're going to do 3 more months at the new amount. Save that, and just make sure you put the start date as the new, starting from when they're going to bill that new amount. So once you hit save, as you can see there, it's increased the total deal value to $15,000. So it's going to show that we want a $15,000 deal when we originally sold it. So it's going to increase that backdated number. And in my insights, if I refresh this page now, we will see the effect of the increase. So June, July, August have the $2,000 amount. And then you can see in September, it increases to the $3,000 amount. So I find that that's the best way to handle it rather than creating a new deal, because if it's part of the existing engagement, the existing contract, it's better to update the existing deal and add the new billing cycle in. Now, at MinorCo, we sell recurring revenue products. We sell Pipedrive subscriptions where we bill every single month. However, rather than using Pipedrive this way, we actually create a new deal every single month. So we've kind of broken the rules a little bit in our own use case, and that's simply because the amount we charge changes all the time. We are increasing the number of seats people buy, people change plans, they buy add-ons, and for our use case, we just found that trying to keep the products up to date was a little bit messy. We prefer to just use a new deal every single time. If you're not sure what's going to be best to you, best thing is contact us, reach out, we'll talk about your business, and we can figure out the best way for you to use this feature. Okay, now let's look at pay installments, which is great for any work that you do where you're billing milestones or installments, maybe a project that gets billed in different increments. So I've got the same client here, Monsters Inc., great client, and we're doing a website build where it's going to be a $10,000 engagement, but I want to break down how that's actually getting paid. So I'm going to come into my products just like I did before and add my product. So we've got a website design product here. And I'm going to put in the total value of the project. So let's say 10,000, but I'm not going to touch the billing frequency or the billing date here. I'm going to go to the installments tab, and this is where I can set up my installments. So I'm going to say 50% deposit up front. And you could put in milestone. Actually, let's do a milestone. Let's go 25% when design is finalized. And we're going to do the final 25% upon completion. Whoops. Okay. We can then put in the dates that we're expecting to be paid. So for this 50% deposit, I'm expecting they will pay this week. Now, the next two, we're not really sure at this stage. You know, I think the 25% when the design is finalized is probably going to be, you know, next month. We'll push that into July, and then we should be finishing maybe sort of mid to late August. So, but these are really just my estimates. What I will need to do at some point is if the project is going slower than I anticipate, you'll actually want to come in here and update these dates to reflect when you actually get paid or when you believe the payment is going to come. The more up to date you can keep those dates, the better your cash flow forecast is. So I'll put in the correct amount. So 5,000 for the 50, 2.5 for the 25, and 2.5 for the remaining 25. So we'll save that now, and we can see my installments have updated down here. So we can see the total amount that we're going to be charging, the start and the end date. Now, something we do at MinorCo to keep track of things is when we actually get paid, we come into the installments here and we write paid like this. So we actually know we've collected that amount. This is also where I would encourage you to put notes on the deal or link to the invoice that's been sent. Use the deal to keep track of how the payment's been charged, communication with the client, the email with the invoice attached. Keep that on the deal here so you can keep track of when that needs to be paid. I would also create activities. So let's say we create a, do we have an invoice? Let's just call this invoice. We could say send invoice for final payment. You know, I would create an activity for sort of late August so that we actually have a reminder that it's time to send that final invoice. Use the activities for those reminders. Now, once you add the installments to the deal, if I go to my insights here and click refresh, we will see the impact of those installments. So for June, we can see the installment of 5,000 should be in here. There's the $5,000 for Monsters Inc. We've got in July, 2.5 there for Monsters Inc. And in August, we've got the remaining 2.5 there as well. So this report then becomes essentially my cash flow forecast. I can see the total value of all the one-time products or services that we've sold, also when those pay installments are coming in, and any recurring revenue that we collect each month as well. I know, so I can see for July, we are due to receive about $15,000 of cash. Great. Now, as I've shown here, this is a really powerful reporting feature in Pipedrive. I'll talk next about actual billing, but what I find as I've grown my business, I now have big bills that I need to pay every month. We're 14 people now at MinorCo. I've got subscription fees to pay. I've got a lot of cash going out. I need to have good visibility of what's coming in. Otherwise, without that, like I said, you're flying blind, and that's when you can start to get into trouble. It's when you can't make payroll or you don't have cash to pay the bill. So having this visibility, I find really useful. Now, as I said, you could take this a step further. We've worked with clients where we've taken this data and we've connected to a tool like Xero, where we've drafted out each of those pay installments as invoices. You could connect to a payment processor like Stripe, and you could automate billing someone's credit card every single month. If you want to explore those options, book a call with us using the link in the description below. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions, drop them below. I answer every single one. And make sure you subscribe. I put out new Pipedrive training videos on a regular basis, so keep tuned for the next one. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.